Hello and welcome to another one of Dee's ADD videos. Today we're going to look at the concept of Newton's laws. Isaac Newton came up with these fundamental laws of motion that helped revolutionize physics. The first of which was Newton's first law. First law states that a body acted on by no net force moves with constant velocity or zero velocity and has zero acceleration. So if we have a body this is the key there, no net force another key that you might see is the constant velocity. Look for these words. And has zero acceleration. All of these things are indicative of the first law. Alright, so what does that mean? Well, basically what that should mean to you, no net force, would be if the sum of the forces is zero. How can I put this? The easiest way to look at this is we're going to be looking at the sum of the forces equals something, right? And the first law basically says if we have constant velocity, if we have no net force, well, the sum of the forces will equal nothing. Okay. The constant velocity, no net force. Look for those two things. All right. But if we actually have a net force or a varying velocity, then we go to the second law that states that object acted on by a force has a varied velocity and acceleration, and the sum of the forces then becomes mass times acceleration. What does that mean? That means that when you're applying this law, you're going to get the sum of the forces equals mass times acceleration. And then the third law has to do with the fact that when you push on a body, and that body pushes back, and this is going to be equal in magnitude force pushback, but opposite directions, so they're going to be negatives of each other. Negative of push force. And this push force I'm talking about is the initial push, not the object pushing back. Alright, so you'd see force of B on A equals the negative force of A on B. Alright? So these are the three laws in a nutshell. Make sure you see the example videos to further clarify these laws. The things to look for are highlighted over here. The constant, anytime you see constant velocity or zero acceleration, it's the first law, and you know it's going to be the sum of the forces equals to 0. Then if it's actually got a net force or varying velocity, then the sum of the forces equals mass times acceleration. And then the third law is this main principle here, where we have equal but opposing direction forces. The key thing here to realize is that it's not one force, it's two different forces acting on two different bodies. Distinct bodies. Right, because B is acting on A and A is acting on B. Alright, what do we need to do with these? Well, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing the sum of the forces in the X and setting it either equal to 0 or mass times acceleration, and doing the same thing for the Y's. The sum of the forces is equal to either 0 or mass times acceleration. And this one would be, if it's the first law, constant velocities, this one would be the second law, if there's actually varying velocity. Alright, I hope that has clarified the basic concepts of Newton's laws. The best way to understand these laws is to just do a bunch of these problems. So make sure you check out the example videos and then practice, practice, practice. Thank you and have a nice day.